Hello, I'm Roger, and welcome to Meditation Mindfulness in Nature. I know that not everybody can get out to nature, and not everybody will have natural things at home, at least as you start doing mindfulness in nature. So I'm going to show you a way to do a mindfulness practice. So mindfulness is bringing our awareness or attention to our breath, our emotions, our thoughts, our senses, and our surroundings, while also bringing our attention to our judgment, and also working to be in the present moment and letting the most recent moment just pass. Just pass. So, what's something that almost everybody has at home that actually comes from trees that you could do mindfulness with? And so to explore our senses, we can use a piece of junk mail, something that we receive almost every day. A lot of junk mail is, and yep, it says Birkenstock, but don't worry about what it says. That's not important. That's not what we're going to do, because that would be thinking and reading. What we're going to do is we're going to explore this piece of junk mail with our senses. And first, we're going to start by looking at it. Now, a lot of junk mail is designed to be eye-catching. So a lot of junk mail has pretty colors. So, yep, I know that it says Birkenstock, but I can look at, like, there's a lot of blue, there's a lot of green, there's a little bit of yellow. There's a little shape here that has little black squiggles in it. There's some white down here against a darker green, and I can look at, we have different colors, different slight shades of blue, and instead of, like, okay, I know that it's clothing, but what if I explore it for the lines? Like, forget, like, I know it's clothing, but what if I look at, like, oh, here at this part right here, there's a lot of different lines in this blue. And then we come down here and there's a kind of a creamy white beigey part. And up here is some brown with another creamy beigey part that's kind of the same color as that. And it has like little spots in there. Yeah, I know it's a face, but I can look at it for just the lines and the color. And back here, there's some brown that has lines in it. There's another piece of little brown here. Here's some kind of cream that goes across here. Some more cream here, a different little shade of green. And I see there's little bitty white pokey up things there. There's little yellow dots here and there. There's a little bit of white way back there in this photo. And then I can turn it to the other side. And yep, I know what all those things are, but let me just explore it visually. So again, I've got some black, I've got some gradations happening. It's broken up into 6 square rectangles. There's another little bitty green rectangle. There's some darker color squiggles here. And we've got some white, a little bit of yellow, and there's a couple gradations of a darker grayish, creamy green to a lighter whitish beige. Here we have some black with white. So taking a piece of junk mail, do you see how you can start to explore it, forgetting that it's junk mail, forgetting that it's words and pictures of people, and explore it for the colors and shapes that are on it. And here's an all white part. Here's some more little black little squiggles. And so we can just visually explore this for all of the different shapes that are on it and the different colors. And then we can feel it. Now, paper's usually smooth. This is smooth. It has a little dust on it. I can feel the dust on my fingers. When I feel it, it makes some sound. So there's another sense. And I can feel the edges. The edges, it's thick enough it's not going to cut me, but I can feel that different, and I can feel it. I can take it up my arm, feel that sensation. I can bring it on my face. So, and this is a little bit stiffer. You can tell it's stiffer. It's not just a sheet of paper. I could do it in my eyebrows. Going both ways. And so we can touch it and explore it, just not just touching with our fingers, but touching parts of our body. What can we feel? It's makes a it does make some sound. Makes some sound if I wiggle it. It doesn't have very much smell. Sometimes paper has more smell, and probably the fresher paper is, the more it will have smell. This doesn't have too much smell. And so we've looked at it, we've touched it, we've listened to it, we've smelled it. We're not going to taste it. But there's another thing we can do with this that's really a great meditation, and that is we can rip it. And it's junk mail, so who cares? And when we ripped it, it made sound. I can now look at, like, how did it rip? But now I can rip it again, rip it the other way. And with any kind of junk mail, this is meditative, and I'll stop talking for a bit, because we can do is start ripping it into little pieces. And if you have a dish or a plate or something, you can have something that you catch them in. So I'm just going to drop them on the ground and I'll pick them up. But we can just go through this ripping it. And as we rip it, we can also pay attention to how does it rip? How does it tug? What sensations are in my fingers or my hand or my arm as I rip? What sensations, what sound? If I rip a bigger piece, I can work at ripping that into a smaller piece. And this can become a focus. Now, if I have a bug near me, if you had bills or some important papers that you needed shredded, you could shred them mindfully and do it by hand. And so you see how this process can be really engaging. I'm not going to do the whole thing just out of the interest of time. You get the idea. But that's mindfulness with a piece of junk mail. And you could do this. I have more. I'm not going to go into them. I'm not going to use those too. But you can see how you can turn a piece of junk mail into to an object to explore, for looking, for touching, for listening, for smelling. And then this meditative, slowly ripping it. And it is mindfulness in nature, because paper comes from trees, and hopefully you're recycling it. And so it's going to go back to nature, or it's going to go back to the paper cycle. You also could compost it, or maybe you'll burn it. But it can stay in the cycle of life or stay in the cycle of being paper. And so it's part of nature. It came from nature, and it's either going to go back to nature or go back to staying in the paper cycle. So there's a bug right in front of my face, and now it's in my ear. So that's mindfulness with a piece of junk mail. And who doesn't get enough junk mail that you could do mindfulness every day with a piece of junk mail? So I hope you found this interesting and helpful, and maybe a little like, hey, I never thought of that, but yeah, I could do that. And it is a meditation practice. We can bring our focus to our senses. We can do some breathing. And I hope you find this helpful. I wish you well. Thank you for watching.